Alright, so in the last video I just went over all of the parts and pieces you would need and kind of the plan for this. Now I'm going to show you the first sub-assembly. It's going to be the, actually the box. I'm going to do that first. And this is one where if you were following along in class, we've already done it. And so you can probably skip this video and we'll go on to the next one. For our box project, we have all of our sides and parts and pieces already there. And so I'm just going to create a new assembly, and that's going to be my sub-assembly right here. I frequently prefer to right-click rename, and so I might call this box example. I'm going to call it example because I'm showing this example, and later on I'll probably delete it because I already have a box assembly. Anyway, so what I suggest doing is finding one of the parts, and for this part I'm going to actually put in my bottom first, and then I'm actually going to get out of that and I'm going to do a very important part, which is fix this. And the reason I fix this, so I just right click on the part name, I can also right click on the part itself and it shows up. And I'm going to put this and remove all degrees of freedom. There are 6 degrees of freedom. Fixing it removes all of those and it makes it locked into place. So now my part is locked into this place right here. It won't rotate, it won't move, it won't translate along any of the axes or anything like that. So it's going to be locked into place. When I put other things on there, it is actually going to then lock them into place, and my assembly won't rotate and won't change in an unexpected way. Then what I can do is put in another part that I know is related. I could put all of the parts in together as one, but I don't want to. It just gets a little on the confusing side for me. So I'm going to actually put one in at a time. And in this video, I'm probably just going to put a couple of them together and call it good. Now, when I created these, I tried to pay attention to their actual orientation. That may or may not be true and all that, but there's still a way, even if they're not quite oriented, that's okay. So I'm going to create some mate connectors, and I want to find 2 corners that I can line up. So I know the outside of this corner right here, and I'm going to mouse over this flat section because it's going to line up with this flat section here. And so I'm going to mouse over it, I get this plane, and then any of my mate connectors are normal to this plane, which means that the z-axis is going straight out from it. It's square from the x, which is the red, and the y, which is the green. And so I've got this coming straight out. That's normal to this plane. I'm going to hit OK with that. I'll make another one. Again, finding that same plane, it'll be normal to it. I can then select this corner. These 2 corners are going to line up, and you'll notice I actually do these when they're not right next to each other because it'd be really hard to actually select one separate from the other. So I like to have them a little bit separate, and it's okay if they're rotated or something like that. That's fine. I have both of these line up and look like they're in the correct orientation. So I'm guessing that my fasten mate is going to work. Now I'm using fasten mate because that is going to take my mate connectors and it's going to act like glue. It's going to lock them to the place. They can't rotate, they can't slide. All it's going to do is lock them into place. It removes all 6 degrees of freedom. So I'll hit OK, and let's see. Let's test this out. And I click and drag. Because I've locked this one into place and this one is locked to it, there we go. That one will not move. So I have 2 parts already assembled, no big deal. I can then insert the second side. I could also do the top as well. Largely it doesn't matter. It is kind of nice to build from one side to the other. Notice I am keeping things fairly separate. I'm not putting them exactly where they need to go. I'm just getting kind of close. And then gonna mouse over, find that corner. There we go. That's all good. Going to then mouse over, find that corner, click on it. There we go. Got that other mate connector. They line up and all of that. And so now I can create my corner. Oh, we've got an issue though. Those don't line up. Now we've got some options. You can flip your primary axis. That might work. You can rotate as well. That might work as well. Or you can create an offset. And I know along the X, I actually want to go a 0.25 over. That's the thickness of it. Click somewhere off, and it did go in the correct direction. If I did not know, I could also go there. So negative will cause it to go the opposite direction. I'm actually going to X out of this. I don't like to do an offset if it doesn't make sense. So actually this mate connector is not correct. So I'm going to double click on that and edit that and bring it over to this corner. So this corner will line up with the outside there. Now when I select my fasten mate, it will then line up correctly. Next one, I'll insert the back, and you'll notice that as I have been looking through this, I've actually renamed these so I can actually tell what is the correct part. Okay, so I'll go back here, change your orientation. You'll want to learn how to and become an expert at lining things up or rotating things around, because then you can actually very easily assemble. So again, looking for it to be normal, looking for that corner that's going to line up. They do line up, so my X is red, my Y is green, and they line up, and then my Z is happening there. So I believe this should work. Let's see. So fasten. There we go. That did line up. That's all good. If it didn't, I have the flip primary axis. I've got the reorient the secondary axis, so I can rotate around like that. But this is working. It's all good. So I'll just keep going, and I'll put all of them together. So the last one is the top right here. Again, putting it somewhere close, mostly so I can kind of see both of them and relate to both of them. So I got my mate connector here, normal to this face right here. So I'll select that, hit OK. Another mate connector, and that corner is actually going to line up out here. So I'll click there as well, and then hit OK. It looks like they're oriented correctly. I can change those, but I don't need to. So I'm using all fasten mates because this box would be glued together. I don't want it to actually move in relation to each other. So there we go. This is the box assembly. It's all together. One quick little test is if I click and drag and try to move things around, they don't. So this is my first sub-assembly, my box example. All good. In the next video, I will show you how to put the axle all together from your axle parts.